Welcome back to Empirical Evidence. This is Annie, your energy science chaplain, and we're talking about narcissism. So, the question that we wanted to answer was, how do you evaluate your own circumstances? How do you know when a narcissist has taken over your life? How do you check who is the narcissist? Well, I've got 15 questions that I've compiled based on experiences as well as reading a lot of books, studying a lot of science, and also being a former social work student. So, get a pen and let's go through the questions. Or just listen first, and if it resonates with you, if you find that you're saying yes, 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 hit replay with a pen, write the questions down, and then start observing the people that you interact with. Does this person always push your buttons and argue in a hostile way? It's too intense. A narcissist loves spiritual warfare. So that's really it. You're trying to understand if this is a person who loves spiritual warfare. What's spiritual warfare? It's mental and emotional frustration. Some people get rewired and they actually enjoy pain. It sounds twisted, but it's real. I had a great monastic teacher, Sister Mary Foreman, who explained it to me this way. What is not pleasurable for most of the world has become pleasurable to a narcissist. The narcissist actually finds enjoyment in getting a rise out of you. Or I'll explain it another way. One of my cousins, Vincente, he calls it this way. If you really want to understand them, watch Lucifer. I didn't get it at first, but it made perfect sense. Lucifer enjoys getting a rise out of negative emotions. A narcissist is like that, and Lucifer was the first narcissist in the theological world. He who was the angel of light argued with the supreme being that he is the most important, the most glorious, and the one that should get all the attention, and he will not bow. That is the narcissist. So people can be possessed by energies. Possessed may not be the right word in how the general community understands it. I'm not using it in the supernatural way. I'm using it in a very layman way. The person may harness the energy of supernatural self-glorification. So, do they push your buttons and argue in a hostile way? They like to waste energy. Your energy, it's not a waste for them because they get enjoyment out of it. War becomes a pleasurable thing to them. Do they hate the details of living on their own? Working, cooking, cleaning. They can often be seen buying takeout food. They don't want to cook. They don't want to work. Work in physics means to expend energy. Remember what I said? A narcissist is not about giving energy out. It's about being a vacuum and sucking it in. That includes your own. He wants or she wants to suck all your energy and life force dry. Are they aware of it? I'm not here to argue that. I'm just here to help you spot that. Do they always act like they need you? So they tap into the hero archetype in people. I need you. Help me, help me, help me. They will even create events to help you rescue them. That is just the way of a narcissist. That was 3 questions. Let's move on to number 4. Do they try to be involved with you sexually or dress extremely sexual around you in a very inappropriate way? When it's not their role, that's inappropriate. When it's a stranger, that's also inappropriate. When it's someone that you've clearly set a boundary with, that's inappropriate. Pay attention to their behavior. Sexuality, the guts level area, is the center of power. Sexuality itself is not power. What I'm saying is that area is where we harness our power. That power for many people can be channeled into the mind. That's how you have great mystics, great teachers, great philosophers like Copernicus, Galileo. That is even how you end up with great monks and abbots. Sexual energy can be harnessed in the mind, but that requires a lot of work. Most people, the power center is at the gut level. It's not a joke when they said sex is power. It's not the sex that's power. It's the energy that is housed there in that general region of creativity. Creativity doesn't come from the mind. Inspiration hits the mind, but creativity is an energy that comes from that gut, lower abdomen region. It's fire, it's power. But the narcissist uses that power to get what they want. Do they avoid cleaning and taking care of their basic responsibility? That's another energy parasite behavior. Do you feel tired from babysitting them or cleaning up their mistakes? That's another energy drain. Do they show an obsession with the way they look, the spirit of vanity? That's another quality of the narcissist. Do they lie a lot? People who lie a lot have no core values, because one of the principles of spirituality is to be able to honor truth to someone or something. There is some point where you want to be honest, to be vulnerable, which means to be interconnected. A narcissist just keeps lying. You don't even know when they're telling the truth anymore. So you have to protect yourself. It doesn't mean telling them all of your business or telling them the truth. That's not going to get them to change. That just gives them more ammunition to use over you. Do they always want to use your stuff and spend your money? Greed. I had this experience. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm, out of great generosity of my brother, filming my version of TED Talk in his free living space. By free living space, I mean the empty space. He has an empty room and I'm using it as a studio right now. And I want to tell you that even if you don't have money, the narcissist will find you. I remember sharing an episode with him where I had a stranger who had their own property, but they always wanted mine. And this wasn't a small property. This person wanted all of my education, and the person also wanted my car. I'm not dating the person. That was not the relationship. Now this person happened to just be a friend, but the reality is, while having their own, they were wondering, how can I use your stuff? How can I make your stuff a part of my collective? That's the way the narcissist works. They use the we language a lot. A narcissist doesn't have a differentiated mind, and by differentiated, I mean people think having a tribal mind is a good thing. Now, having a tribal mind is essential to having a collective identity, but a collective identity is very different than a tribal mind. A tribal mind speaks for the group. It's we, without reason, without proof, without need. Everything that they covet, they say it's for the group, but it's not true, because the group also has representatives. Most groups have structure systems where there is a leader or a chief that has the higher intelligence and the higher social intelligence. They're aware of what the community needs, and they go into dialogue with other elders and come together and decide what benefits the community, and then they speak as we. A narcissist doesn't actually check facts, doesn't look at what the community really needs, but always uses the we voice. We the people, we need this, we are oppressed, we are empowered, these are our values. They don't actually have facts. What they have is an emotional connection to a specific language, the psychology of others. So again, look for the person who can't differentiate their own ideas. Look for the person who tries to piggyback on what other people say, what other people feel, what other people want, what other people need, and try to claim it as their own in order to manipulate you. That's a narcissist. They are always digging through your stuff or laying in your bed when they have their own. That's a person with no boundaries. So again, 15 questions. Do you have someone who actively pushes your button and argues in a hostile way? Do you have someone who hates the details of living or working on their own? Do you have someone who always pretends that they need you and they value you, but it's hard to see what they actually do for you in the physical and social world, or even mental world? Now remember, contributing people will increase your value and your ability to meet your own goals in 2 areas: mentally or emotionally or physically or financially. So there are 4 major areas of life. I talk about it in my book, No Surrender. But a good person tries to improve your life and help you with things in at least 2 areas. A narcissist does the minimum. That's the goal. So they just find one area that you think you might need help in, and they stir fear in that area, and then they plug into it and say that they're helping you and they rescue you. I've experienced that too, from people who, quote unquote, loved me like a sister. You got to be careful. That's why it's important to check them out with all 15 questions. So does someone try to be involved with you in an inappropriate way? Are they always trying to become rich and have no internal motivation to do the work? They believe that some man should mind them, meaning the man should take care of all their needs. They don't believe that they should do anything for the man besides having his children or just offering him a meal for the day. Do you feel tired from babysitting the person or cleaning up their mistakes? Do they show an obsession with the way they look all the time? They can't leave the house looking frumpy. Do you find yourself making excuses for them and feeling self-guilty even when you haven't done anything? Even when you've given them your everything, everything you do is not good enough for them. I had a teacher like that. Do you feel used by them? Basically, hey, you're the token diversity for the community. Or maybe it's not the diversity. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. I have a problem for you to fix. They don't actually want to spend time with you to celebrate the good things. They don't actually want to spend time with you to help with bad things. They just only find you when they have a need. Be it need with their finances, need with solving a boyfriend problem, need with counseling. They just always seem to have a need and never invite you to celebrate life with them. And if they do, they start quantifying how many times they've helped you. That is very dangerous grounds. They're always trying to claim more space than they actually need to live. Somehow they always seem to need more space. And it's your space. It's not like they want to go out and get their own space. They just want all of your space till you find yourself in a little corner in your own space. That's just crazy. They always use the we language. You very rarely hear them say, I feel, I need, I am tired, could you do this for me? It's, well, so-and-so thinks that we should. They try to draw you into the group psychology. It's okay to have a group psychology because we all belong to a community. There are always group psychologies, but when there's an issue, they should be able to speak in the first person. That's how you recognize a differentiated mind. Why do you care about a differentiated mind? Christ had a differentiated mind. Sages have a differentiated mind. A healthy person can speak for themselves in the first person. They recognize themselves as having vibrations, as having relationships, as being separate from the people around them. They can speak in we, but they also can speak in I. If the language is always we, you have a tribal mind on your hands. Be careful. And they're always digging through your stuff and moving your boundaries in your social, financial, and mental life. They can't move the boundaries in your emotional life. It's your emotions that they're after. Your emotions house your energy. Again, while the gut houses the energy, the emotions reflect it. The emotions are a house of energy. It's your energy that they're tapping into. Put up those boundaries. Do it slowly. Do it firmly. Don't blink. Don't feel sorry for them. Love yourself enough, and you can be healthy. Stay tuned.